A woman never belongs to you. It's just your turn.
Rich guys and hot guys get cheated on like everybody else. You lost your edge, she lost attraction. That's how it works. Don't just give her your attention. Make her earn it.
What'd you think she was gonna do? Tell you she cheated?
Live from Philadelphia, your man, Donovan Sharpe.
What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to the 503rd episode of TSR Live, your daily dose of red pill truth, wisdom, and awareness. We are presented by Gorilla Mind Rush, the best supplement on the market for productivity, focus, and energy with absolutely zero crash. If you want to get your hands on a bottle and support the show, go to donovansharpe.com/gorilla mind rush. That is donovansharpe.com/gorilla mind rush. I'm putting it in the chat now. It is Wednesday, August 21st, 2019. We're not streaming to Facebook anymore, but we are still live on YouTube and Twitter. So however you're watching, wherever you're watching from, thank you for making the Sharpe Reality Live a part of your daily routine. A very special thanks goes out to James S. for submitting today's topic, because this is something I have discussed at length many times on my channel, and that, of course, is The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. Now, back when I first started discussing the goings-on this particular show on the regular, I had a bunch of meathead red pill guys saying things like, dude, you watch The Bachelor, you're a beta. Oh my God, you watch a chick show. And then, of course, we had the too cool for school guys who always make their way in the chat. Well, why are we even talking about this anyway? Well, listen, I don't give a damn about what meathead red pill guy says about me or my show. Because meathead red pill guy is simply a man stuck in the anger phase who is simply one rejection away from becoming an incel who calls himself a monk. Meathead red pill guy wants us all to think that he's black pill and that he doesn't care how hot she is. It's one strike and she's out. Okay? I don't give a damn about what those guys think. Those guys are as fake as a fugazi. Those guys are as fake as cubic zirconia. However, they do ask a very good question, albeit as a disingenuous way to say that I shouldn't talk about this show, when they ask why I talk about The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. And the answer to that question is because The Bachelor and The Bachelorette is absolutely loaded with red pill truth. Any man who has even a little bit of doubt as to whether or not women really are hypergamous banana gobblers who are little more than overgrown children who feed on drama and reward sexual behavior with their attention and sexual availability, you need to watch these shows. Female nature, gentlemen, is constantly front and center. And the girls on the show, the girls on the franchise, they can do very little to hide it. I'll give you an example. I'll give you a quick example. Right now, on The Bachelor in Paradise, there's a guy by the name of Blake, who was a contestant on The Bachelor back in the summer of 18. That was Becca's season. Anyway, Blake finished runner-up. But since then, Blake's been sleeping with a bunch of other women who were also former contestants on The Bachelor. They call people who belong to this group Bachelor Nation. Well, when he got to the beach in Mexico where Bachelor in Paradise is filmed, and by the way, Bachelor in Paradise is a spin-off show that puts former contestants from The Bachelor and The Bachelorette together on the beach. They all hook up, they break up, there's all sorts of drama, fights, and the rest of all that, but that's what that is. Anyway, when Blake got to the beach, the girls started talking. They started talking about the goings-on of what had been happening since they were on their particular seasons of The Bachelor. And it didn't take them long to figure out that Blake had been humping around. So they all started shaming him, calling him a player and a bad guy and all the rest of that. Guess what, guys? It should come as no surprise that he is now one of the most sought-after guys on the beach. He's made 3 girls cry, he's made out with another 3 girls, and he's been on dates with 2 more. Guys, they have tried their damnedest to eliminate this guy at every turn, but he keeps getting roses from different girls who secretly hope that they can be the one who tames him. Sound familiar? Watching this stuff play out on screen in this show, it's like watching the replay of something you've never seen before. I can sit in my recliner and I can accurately tell you who's going to pick who's going to get left out, who's going to get a rose, who's not going to get a rose. Every once in a while, I'm wrong because I'm not right all the time. But I'm pretty accurate with this stuff, and anybody who has red pill awareness probably will be too. Interestingly enough, there are a few of the guys on the beach who have the red pill staring them right in the face. And you can see him trying to figure things out on the air. One guy who really likes one of the girls on the beach, it's a guy named Dylan. He really likes a girl named Hannah. I forget what her last name was. It's not Hannah the Bachelorette, but another Hannah. He's saying things like, well, what she's telling me isn't matching up with what she's doing. Another guy said, I came out here and I've tried to be a good guy and wear my heart on my sleeve, but it's always the assholes that get the roses. People think that The Bachelor and The Bachelorette is mainly for a female audience, and to some degree, it is. But I am firmly in the camp that says that these shows are 100% for a red pill audience, because it serves as the mainstream manifestation of what we discuss in the manosphere on a daily basis. This stuff plays out as expected on these shows. Hypergamy, branch swinging, blame shifting, crocodile tears, lack of personal accountability. All of the female characteristics that we talk about in the manosphere and on red pill channels are all on full display all the time, which brings me to today's topic regarding former Bachelorette Hannah Brown. Now, Hannah Brown, or Hannah B, as she is known in the Bachelorverse, was this year's Bachelorette. And the way she conducted herself during the show, or during her search for true love, guys, was nothing short of crass, trashy, outright disgusting. Now, I guess I should say maybe normal, right? It's normal for bachelorettes to kiss a lot of guys during the show. I mean, she is, after all, trying to whittle down a field of, I guess, about 30 men down to one. So I suppose it stands to reason that any given bachelorette is going to swap spit with more than a few guys. No, this isn't really normal, nor should it ever be normalized for a woman to be making out with several guys on TV for all the world to see. But for the sake of the show and its format, I am willing to accept the fact that any given bachelorette is going to get physical on some level with a bunch of guys. No, not normal or classy, but listen, ratings are ratings, and the girls got to make sure, I mean, in their defense, they have to make sure that they have some sexual chemistry with the guy she's choosing from. I'll grant you that. But Hannah Brown, this chick went above and beyond just a few little makeout sessions. This female wrapped her legs around each contestant at least a half a dozen times each. She'd get into full-on booty-grabbing makeout sessions where she's straddling dudes in a skirt. She went bungee jumping with a contestant while they were both fully naked and had sex with at least 2 contestants. And I don't think anyone would be surprised if that number was higher than that. Hannah Brown represents everything that is wrong with American women today, guys. And watching this woman's shenanigans on television was absolutely disgusting. Now, it shouldn't surprise anyone here that the more promiscuous she acted on the show, the more praise she got in the media. They characterized her behavior as Hannah Brown's turning up the heat. Hannah Brown is owning her sexuality. They called it everything but what it actually was, which is banana gobbling. And at the end of it all, she decided to get engaged to the below average musician with a guitar and a dream, instead of the guy who has himself together, makes a great living, and has a rock solid family. Hannah's choice was indicative of today's women in their early 20s. If she were to do it all again at age 34, I can assure you that she'd have made a very different decision, but because we know ABC is never going to put a post-wall, airheaded, self-entitled beauty pageant queen on the air as the Bachelorette, we're never going to find out. So here's lesson number 1, gentlemen. If you are dating or seeing even a semi-attractive female in her early 20s, you need to understand that at this point in her life, she's not going to make romantic decisions based on need. She's going to make these decisions based on want. And if you're the guy who makes 40 grand a year, you drive a Honda Accord, you've got a 401k, and are an otherwise responsible, law-abiding citizen, she's not going to commit to you long-term for at least another decade, maybe longer. However, if you bounce from job to job, have zero financial stability, if you laugh at her every time she talks about your future together, and you're a part of some rink-a-dink garage band, she'll be yours until you say otherwise. Now, since the show has ended, she's received a lot of backlash about her exploits on the show, not the least of which was eliminating a contestant for suggesting to her that if he found out that she had slept with any of the other guys, that he would take his commitment off the table. Take a look and let's listen to this absolute nonsense. Here we go.
It's like, I've heard people proclaim their faith, but yet they've said things like, yeah, I'm excited for Fantasy Suites. I want to explore this relationship on a sexually intimate level, and that's what I'm looking forward to. And to me, that's like, whoa, what?
Okay, now, he says, I've heard girls say, this is what I'm looking forward to. He's talking about her. He's dancing around this because he's still young and hasn't really come into his own yet. But Luke Parker, who, by the way, was clearly the front runner up until this point, is talking about Hannah because he heard her say these things, and so did other contestants and the audience. She proudly sang out, "It's Fantasy Suite Week," because she couldn't wait to jump into bed with as many dudes as she could. What happened here was Luke's masculine instincts kicked in and said, wait a minute, I'm not trying to wife up a chick who's sleeping with other dudes. It was her that he heard it from, not other people.
Me? There's something I'm missing here. Like, I don't believe that's something that you should be doing. And I just want to make sure you're not going to be, sexually intimate with, the other relationships here.
Okay.
Like, I totally have all the trust in the world for you. But at the same time, I just want to make sure we're on the same page. Like, if you told me you're having sex or you had sex with one or multiple of these guys, I'd be wanting to go home.
I'm kind of mad.
I'm kind of mad. Gentlemen, what you are about to see and hear is the very definition of what we call in the manosphere rationalization hamster. You're about to see it in spades. Buckle up.
Because, the way that you just said that.
The way that you just said that? Dude, Luke put it as gently as humanly possible. He was respectful. His voice was even. He was measured. And he said what he had to say calmly and kindly. But then she wants to say, well, the way you just said that, which clearly shows that it's not about how he said it, it's that he said it. I compare this to all of the LeBron James haters who dogged him out for taking his talents to South Beach and going to Miami to join the Miami Heat back in 2010. They said, well, it's how he did it. No, it's not how he did it. It's that he did it. And the way he did it gave you a reason to act like a jilted lover who was upset that he dumped you for another girl. That's all that is. This is what's going on with Hannah in this regard. Talking about, well, it's how you said it.
It's like, why do you have the right to?
Why do you have the right? Let's see. And again, Luke could not have been any more delicate when he said what he just said. But in typical female fashion, Hannah tries to blame it on his tone by saying, the way you just said that, when in actuality, guys, what Hannah B is here, she's a hit dog. And she does not like the fact that Luke Parker has just hit the bullseye by calling her out on her promiscuous behavior. That's what this is. Let's continue.
That because you're not my husband.
No, you're not my husband. You have no right because you're not my husband. No, he's not your husband, Hannah. And this is the mentality that women in this country endorse. If you're not my husband, you can't have standards. You can't tell me, if you're sleeping with other women, I will not marry you. If you're sleeping with other men, or if you're sleeping with other women, you will not get my commitment. This is what feminism has created, guys. Women who honestly believe that men who are thinking about committing to them should not hold them to a sexual standard of temperance, restraint, and discipline, lest they withdraw their consideration for marriage. This is what feminism has created, guys. You're seeing it on your screen right now.
And you're not.
Can I get you off for a second?
No.
Okay.
It's just that you're questioning me, that you're judging me, and feel like you have the right to when you don't at this point.
Sure he does. Sure he does. Sweetheart, you're taking his last name, not the other way around. He's got to bring you home to his family after his family has watched you swap spit with, naked bungee jump with, make out in a sauna with, straddle in a skirt with, and have sex with a bunch of guys for all the world to see. He has every right to judge you because you want his commitment. Yes, he wants yours too, but if you're having sex with other men, then it's clear that you are not committed to him. That's how this works. No, Luke doesn't get a say in what she does with her body sexually. Listen, she can do whatever she wants. But he does get a say in how he reacts and subsequently decides based on his judgment of your behavior, Miss Brown.
And I get when you care for somebody that you don't want to think about somebody being intimate with another person. But guess what? Sex might be a sin out of marriage. Pride is a sin too.
Pride is a sin. Oh, give me a break. Give me a break. Yes, okay, listen, prideness is a sin, Miss Brown. But men can overlook pridefulness in a woman. Men can overlook a lot of things, really, when looking for a wife. But overt hyper-promiscuity during the process in which you are trying to get a husband is something that men like Luke Parker does not. And making promiscuity equal to pridefulness within the context of courtship is absolutely laughable. When's the last time you heard a woman say, well, I'm not going to marry that guy, he's just too prideful? Get out of here with that.
I feel like this is like a pride thing.
Let's say you've had sex with all these other relationships. I'm willing to do or work through anything. You're right. I don't have the right to ask you that, but to me...
See that? He says I'm willing to work through anything. I just said it. We'll cut women breaks all around, except for when it comes to promiscuity.
I just want to know what's going on because...
But you did.
You're right, because of the trust.
You did ask. And the words that you just used were you're willing to work through this. I'm a grown woman and can make my own decisions, and I'm not strapped to a man right now.
Look at the look on her face. I'm not strapped to a man right now. You see the look on her face? You see the smugness? You see the outright, I don't give a damn what you say look on her face? She thinks that's...
I don't know how to respond to that.
Oh, wait a minute. That was Siri. She thinks that because she's not strapped to a man that she is free of the consequences that comes with acting promiscuous. This stupid girl thinks that because she's not committed to anyone, that she will be given a full pardon for sleeping with two men on two separate dates, and that Luke should just be all right with that. Clearly, he is not.
Just being real,
Yeah, be real.
I can understand a slip-up, but with all of them, I mean, that's kind of where I was going with that. If you were just you know what, I want to just have sex with everyone and see what it's like. And yeah, I would be like, okay, I'm gonna talk to you, but you know what, I'm out of here.
So what would that? Honestly, what you're saying, the words that you're saying are just really not okay.
Yeah, they are, Miss Brown. They are 100% okay. You see, a man has the right to dismiss you if you are unapologetically and enthusiastically promiscuous. Right now, what's happening right now is Hannah doesn't know it just hit her. You can tell that no man has ever told her any of this to her face before. She is completely shell-shocked. She is acting like a hit dog, and she is searching. She is just searching right now.
There's not okay. And the closest thing that I've ever felt to love at first sight was probably with you.
Love at first sight. Guys, there's no such thing as love at first sight. There is lust at first sight, which is what happened when Hannah first laid her eyes on Luke. And it was obvious to everyone in America. I said that Luke was the winner. I said, there's your winner right here. This is the alpha Chad right here. She gave him the first impression rose, and I think it's the last 6 guys to get first impression roses, other than, I guess Luke Parker stopped the streak. But until Luke Parker, the last 5 or 6 men to get the first impression rose ended up winning the Bachelorette, which actually proves that women really are. And it's funny, the last 5 or 6 winners other than Luke got the first impression rose. So based on just first impression, spending a half an hour cocktail party, they already made up their decision. This just proves how arbitrarily women just make decisions at this young age. When they're older, they become a lot more discerning, but when they're 24, 25 years old, yep, first impression rose, that's your winner. Anyway, she gave him the first impression rose, and she damn near had sex with him on more than one occasion, only to be stopped by one of the other contestants when they actually walked in on her. I predicted that this guy was the winner when I first saw him because I could see that he's the best looking guy in the show. I mean, look at him. Look at him, dude. Luke's an attractive guy. He's the kind of guy that girls would throw themselves at. And Hannah was no different. It wasn't love at first sight. It was clearly lust at first sight. And Hannah could not wait for Fantasy Suite Week so she could wrap her legs around him when they're both naked.
And our relationship from the beginning gave me so much hope. And then it was like all this kept happening. And honestly, like, you have already broken my heart through this, like, truly. And I've broken my own heart because I've allowed everything. And to ignore all the red flags for how I feel, to have this and to have you say this about me and make me feel like you would look at me any differently and judge me or make me.
Are you kidding me with this? How the hell could she think that a man could see her the same way if he found out she had sex with multiple dudes before coming to see him? This chick is shaming him for judging her for being promiscuous when there's marriage on the table? I can understand if they were just friends with benefits or maybe trying to figure out where their relationship is headed. But this show is supposed to end in an engagement, which means imminent marriage. This just goes to show that females simply do not value commitment at a young age. They can say they value commitment, but when she shares her body with multiple men during the time she's supposed to be deciding who she's going to get married to and spend the rest of her life with, that says to the world, I don't take this seriously. I don't take my body seriously. I don't take sexual temperance seriously. And this is why Hannah Brown will never be taken seriously by serious men from here on out.
Feel like you would not think of me as a woman of faith like I am, and that we weren't on the same page. And it's like you're holding no. You're holding other people to a standard that you don't even live by. Maybe because you abstain from sex.
Oh, there it is. There it is. You see what she just tried to do there? She tried to say, you can't expect me to do something you aren't even doing, but Luke wasn't sleeping around when he came to the show. He abstained from sex on purpose to prepare himself for what he thought was a commitment with a woman who shares his values. But when it becomes clear that she clearly does not share his values, she tried to say, okay, I'm a slut, but so are you, which number one isn't the same, because men who sleep around and women who sleep around are two very different entities in and of themselves. And number two, it wasn't true. This is her grasping for straws, trying to find something to rebuttal his trump card. Hannah knew that Luke was completely justified in the way he felt. She knew what he felt and why he felt that way. But because she wants her cake and eat it too, and oh, by the way, doesn't want to look bad on national TV, she gets all crazy and starts pointing the finger at him for something she did. This is called blame shifting. Women do this all the time, and once again, this is on full display.
There's a lot of things that you struggle with, and it's like because I might want to or have had sex, that's like your ex off. Well, like I could have X'd you off so many times from being my husband, from things that I want out of a relationship, and that it's just sex for you.
And that it's just sex for you. Listen, Hannah, it is just about sex for guys, and let me explain what I mean. And she knows this too. I don't have to explain this, but I'm going to say it out loud. We as men, like I said, we will look past or try to work with just about anything when it comes to any given woman's weaknesses, idiosyncrasies, bad habits within the context of an exclusive sexual relationship. We'll learn to deal with procrastination. We'll learn to deal with a girl's quirks. We'll look past all sorts of irritating habits that are otherwise inconsequential to the relationship as a whole. No woman is perfect, and we get that. But we absolutely will not overlook a woman who shares her body with hordes of men. So yes, Miss Brown, it is about sex for men. If we are looking for a relationship, a woman can be a lot of things. A banana gobbler is not one of them.
You're like, if you've had sex, then I'm going home. It's like, well, I want somebody who can get along with people, who doesn't have pride issues. Like, there's so many things that I don't want out of a husband that you've shown. And so it's like, oh my gosh, like, that's a big, like, you. That's what that is. I feel like I've finally gotten clarity on you. And I do not want you to be my husband.
And that, of course, is how that ended. If you'd like to support the show, you can do this in a few different ways. Number one, you can buy Gorilla Mind Rush, which is the best supplement on the market for concentration, focus, and productivity at donovansharpe.com/Gorilla Mind Rush. Number two, you can become a patron, which gives you access to an ocean of exclusive content for just pennies a day at patreon.com/DonovanSharpe. Number three, you can drop me a super chat. Or number four, you can donate through my Streamlabs link, www.streamlabs.com/DonovanSharpe, and the number one. Again, that is www.streamlabs.com/DonovanSharpe, and the number one. I'm putting all of the links in the chat now, and you can also find them in the description. So after she chose Jed over Peter, who, by the way, was a pilot, and over Tyler, who is a contractor with a good job, okay? After she sent Luke home, she passed over those two guys. But she broke off the engagement to Jed because she found out that Jed had a girlfriend when he came on to the show, which brings us to the article that James S. submitted entitled Hannah Brown Says She's Struggling After the Bachelorette. Let me bring that up here. Let me bring that article up here. There we go. I got a lot going on here, guys. Hannah Brown says she is struggling after the Bachelorette. Let's go ahead and get into it. It says, quote, the former Miss Alabama USA took to Instagram on Monday night to candidly open up about how her life has changed over the past year and reveal her battle to maintain her identity throughout all that's happened. She says, quote, honestly, I'm struggling. Brown began her lengthy post. Life is so different, she said. Since last August, I've been a pageant queen, a Bachelor contestant, and the Bachelorette. I've been in love with multiple people. I got engaged, I broke off an engagement, and I shared it all with millions of people. My faith has been questioned by thousands who don't know my heart, and my transparency with my decisions has labeled me promiscuous. Simultaneously, she says, I become a role model, God help us, for young women and started bigger conversations around faith and sex. I'm living on my own, she says, for the first time and shuffling through this life of next steps with press, media, and opportunities galore. So she says her faith has been questioned by people who don't know her heart. What Hannah is saying here is what promiscuous women always say when people call them out on their promiscuous ways, which is, you don't know me. Which means that even though I'm acting like a cucumber enthusiast, doesn't mean I'm a cucumber enthusiast, even though all of my actions would indicate that I am indeed a cucumber enthusiast. Every soul in the free world endorses the often used cliche, actions speak louder than words, including, as it happens, women. But as soon as they look at a woman's actions, all of a sudden now women want to say, well, don't look at my actions. Look at my heart. They don't know my heart. Yeah, Hannah, we do know your heart. And your heart has the Jezebel spirit, hun. And listen, I'm not an overly religious guy, but I'm going to speak Hannah's language since she seems to want to cling to the Bible and proclaim that Jesus still loves her. Hannah Brown's a hoe, guys. She was a hoe before she was the Bachelorette. She acted like one during the show, and regardless of how shocked she is at these outlandish allegations, she is still a hoe today. But as we all know, women don't like this label even if it applies to them. They want all the benefits and all the fun that comes with throwing yourself at anything with an Adam's apple, but they never want to own up to the actual label. They want to act like a banana gobbler. They just don't want people to call them banana gobblers. You can say whatever you want, Miss Brown, but you are what you are no matter what's in your heart. Then she wants to act surprised that people are labeling her as promiscuous. Well, the reason people are labeling you as promiscuous, Miss Brown, is because you are indeed promiscuous. It's simple math, darling. Listen, you can't tell the world that you're not something and then wrap your legs around dudes by the dozen and then brag about getting pounded out in a windmill 4 times in one night. Doesn't work that way, sweetie. And the fact that she's a role model for young women is exactly, oh my God, this is exactly why today's women are hopeless. If young girls watched Hannah Brown's conduct and think that she is something to aspire to, if they think that that's something they want to be, if she's a role model, if they look up to this girl, every one of us, men and women, we're all in big trouble. Now, of course, the bigger conversations about faith and sex, listen, those conversations are nothing more than rationalizing promiscuous behavior so as to not look bad in public. Nothing more. There are no conversations being had, guys. Hannah, your Bible says that fornication is a sin. You have fornicated, so you have sinned. The problem is you're not sorry. I'm sure Jesus still loves you and all, but you're not sorry, and that's why you're catching all of this heat from the religious community, as you should. Let's continue. It says the 24-year-old continues sharing that she misses her friends and family back home in Alabama who have watched my life explode, she puts in quotes. I feel guilty because I don't have the time or emotional capacity to fill each of them in on my life right now. I can't keep up with the people that matter most because I can barely keep up with my own life right now, she wrote. She has plenty of time to spend with her friends and family, but she's just too busy living it up in LA to give a damn about them anymore. Hollywood Hannah's a celebrity now. Word on the street is that she's supposed to also be on Dancing with the Stars. And no matter how much she claims to miss her friends and family, she will make choices that serve her interests and hers alone. She continues, she says, I am not complaining about this past year of adventures. The woman who has emerged would shock the mirror-imaged young girl from a year ago. I've had so many blessings to be thankful for. However, it's uncharted territory for me, and it's been really hard to process what the heck is going on, Brown said. Maybe I needed to write this out to remind myself that I am human, and it's okay to be overwhelmed. And maybe I just needed to remind you guys too. Ay, 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 ay. Dude, hamster droppings everywhere. So what this paragraph does is preemptively absolves Hannah for any stupid decisions she will make here in the not too distant future. And make no mistake, guys, this woman is an absolute train wreck. And females like this are allergic to good decision making. Hannah Brown is going to be a tabloid queen. I guarantee it. Not a hard prediction to make, but you heard it here first. Anyway, when women use the word human when describing anything that they've ever done or said, what they're doing is putting themselves in the same class as all people. Well, everybody makes mistakes. I'm only human. As if to say all humans are exactly like me and act exactly in the same way, because what we all have in common is that we are all human, which means we're all exactly the same. Then she says, I'm human and it's okay to be overwhelmed. Translation. It's okay to make bad decisions if you're overwhelmed, and you can't hold me accountable because I was overwhelmed. Guys, she's telling us right here in no uncertain terms that her life is going to be one dumpster fire after another. This little paragraph is little more than a disclaimer that removes any and all responsibility on the basis of being overwhelmed. Let's continue. It says, the Bachelorette concluded her message. She said, quote, life is beautiful but wild. I think it's okay to be strong, to know you're strong, but to still feel weak simultaneously. I believe that's when the magic happens. My spirit has opportunity to grow and blossom from this place. Healing and restoration can happen. I can rest knowing that my Savior has compassion and wants to help and love me through this journey. I've just got to let him. I don't know if I have lately, she says, but I am now because honestly, I think I would give out if I didn't. So yeah, I'm not going to struggle to disguise my weakness. I'm just going to give the keys over to my main man, Jesus, and let him bless me through this ride. Isaiah 54:10. Hallelujah. So here we go. Here we go with the Bible thumping. to make us all think that she's some Christian woman with strong Christian values. Who the hell does she think she's fooling here, guys? The world saw this female act like a preacher's daughter on spring break, and she wants us to, she wants to start quoting the Bible? She wants us all to think that she was at Bible study between all the dates and leg wrapping and rose ceremonies? Oh, please. Nobody buys that you have Christian values, hun. Then she says, I don't know that I have been lately when talking about letting Jesus take the wheel. You think? But not to worry, guys. Not to worry. Help is on the way. She's gonna toss the keys to her main man, Jesus Christ, who, by the way, she probably wrapped her legs around too, and let him guide and strengthen her through this journey. Journey, by the way, in womanese means carousel. This chick is gonna be up. She's gonna be up. This chick is going to be up, up to her psychotic-looking eyebrows in men in no time flat, guys. Here's lesson number 2. And listen up. This is for you Christian brothers out here looking for a woman of God. Women who claim to put God first are the worst of the worst in terms of getting passed around. They like to cloak themselves in the blood of Jesus and act like they're all sanctified to cover up the fact that she's no better than those heathens who indulge in worldly things. Now, I've never done online dating, but I can say with near 100% certainty that girls on Christian Mingle probably jump on the carousel faster and ride longer than any Tinderella. Stay away from Christian girls, guys. You're better off dating a stripper because at least you know what you're in for with those girls. At least they don't hide it. The article continues. It says, just 2 weeks ago, fans watched Brown's season finale of The Bachelorette, which featured her breakup from fiancé Jed Wyatt and her boldly asking out runner-up Tyler Cameron for a drink. Oh, what a strong woman. She and Cameron got that drink a few days later, and he spent the night at her place in Los Angeles. 2 days after that, he was spotted on multiple dates with Gigi Hadid. I don't know who that is. She's a model for IMG. I looked her up. Well, that's interesting. That took an interesting turn. Well, the last time we saw Tyler, he was head over heels in love with Hannah and couldn't wait to get down on one knee. But now all of a sudden he pumped and dumped her and now he dates a model? Gee, I wonder what happened. I'll tell you what happened. He watched the entire season himself. Tyler reacted the same way that any man would when he watched Hannah jump in everybody's bones on national television, with disgust. Tyler watched the season back, and he realized that he dodged a bullet when she chose Jed over him. But he also wanted to score some easy booty, right? He is a man after all. So he said to himself, yeah, you know what? I'll have that drink. Then he had that drink with her, went to her place, blew her back out, and ditched her like an old broken down pickup truck, and then got with an IMG model. Tyler Cameron, guys, he is starting to understand his own value and is acting accordingly. Listen, man, he's a tall, good-looking underwear model who now has fame and probably money here pretty soon. A man like Tyler isn't going to commit to a female who's had her tongue down the throats of 24 men in 2 months for all the world to see. Not going to happen. At least not now, it's not. But Tyler realizing his increasing value as a man at the tender age of 26, this is a rarity, which brings me to something slightly off topic, but I need to point this out here, guys. Listen up. The producers at ABC like to cast guys like Tyler for The Bachelorette because they know these guys don't know any better. They know that these guys don't realize that their value will skyrocket in a decade or less. They know these young guys have zero clue as to what a woman's true nature is. The producers, they know these dudes don't have a clue as to how the game works and how it's played. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. These guys knew that girls wanted them, right? Listen, I'm sure Tyler had his share in women. Jed obviously had his share in women. Luke P, you know, listen, you knew he was, passing girls around like a cold, right? So they knew that girls wanted them, but they're too young. They were still too young to realize what their true value was. They were too young to realize that it gets much better after the age of 30. This makes it easy for The Bachelorette, the producers, and Chris Harrison to pull this recurring con, which is to make these men think that these serial banana gobblers are wife material. And they pull it off damn near every season. Think about it. If ABC actually casted high-value men in their mid to late 30s who were actually good with women and knew the game, after night one, they'd all look at each other and say, wait a minute, you mean we have to compete with each other for this entitled brat who's never met a dick she didn't like? I'm out of here. The producers know that it would take these guys maybe a half an episode to figure out that they're competing for a hoe. Now, to be fair, even if ABC wanted to cast these kinds of men, they probably couldn't, because men like this are typically up to their eyeballs in women anyway. I mean, why would a man give up his harem to pursue marriage, which he knows is a bad idea, with a female who clearly isn't wife material? Well, thanks to his newfound celebrity, Tyler Cameron is now in that camp, which is exactly why he dipped out after he did the dirty deed with Hannah. He now understands that his value is far too high to commit to a female like her. Now, Hannah didn't expect this, because she thought that Tyler would still have on his rose-colored glasses, pun intended, after the show. But it's clear he now knows who and what Hannah really is, and good for him. He got what he wanted out of her, which was easy sex. He dipped out, and now he's with a model. It continues here. Oh, wait a minute. It continues. I have feelings, Hannah says, but I'm also single and he's single, and I want to keep my options open, and he can keep his options open, Brown told ET last Monday. We definitely hung out and talked about everything, and I know no one will believe me about just hanging out, and we actually talked about it, but it was good to be able to catch up. We had a lot to talk about, she explained, noting it was a lot like the pair's fantasy suite date. We are trying to figure out how we feel. Yeah, Hannah, you're right. Nobody believes you guys just talk, because we know how you get down. And we know how you feel about Tyler, but we also know how Tyler feels about you. He didn't want you, sweetie. So here's lesson number 3, guys. Here's lesson number 3. When a woman precedes a statement with, I know you won't believe me, she is being next level manipulative. And let me explain how. In the words of Steve Dean Williams, get your crayons out. It is in a female's nature to not want to be predictable. Today's women hate it when people can figure them out without much effort. They want to be mystical. They want to be complex, because they feel like it adds the same mystique and allure as it does to men. I'll give you an example. If you tell a woman, I know you're not going to like this soup, but I'll let you try it anyway. Or you can say something like, well, I know someone like you would never like this soup, but I'm going to let you try it anyway. What you'll do is she'll subconsciously try her very best to like the soup, so that she can show you that you don't have her pegged, that you don't have her figured out, that you can't predict her behavior. A female will lie. She'll fake liking things. She'll fake not liking things. She'll do anything and everything to prove you wrong and show you that she's like Forrest Gump's box of chocolates. Well, this is exactly what Miss Brown is trying to do when she says, I know nobody will believe me. By simply pointing out that she thinks we won't believe her, she thinks that we will subconsciously try to defy her and prove her wrong by saying, oh, we believe you, Hannah. We believe you. We know you didn't do anything except for talk. Unfortunately for Miss Brown, this is strictly a feminine trait. Men, we don't give a damn about being predictable. In fact, we prefer it. I mean, for better or worse, we prefer being predictable. I recently had a really good friend of mine call me up and tell me that he was thinking about proposing to a girl that he had dated in the past, because she was moving to another city for a job. But before he told me, he talked to a friend of his and said that he called the other friend first. Why? He said because he knew what I would tell him. He said, I already knew what you would say, so I talked to this guy first to get a little bit of reinforcement. Now, as a man, I take tremendous pride in the fact that people know what to expect from me and of me. Women, on the other hand, they see this as a weakness and assume that men do too. And if you don't believe me, try telling a woman she'll do something or say something. I can personally guarantee you that she will do everything in her power not to do or say the thing that you said she'd do or say. Women positively loathe uttering the words, you were right about me. They hate saying it to anyone. So yeah, Hannah, you were right. You were right about me, Hannah. I do not buy that you and Tyler just stayed up and talked for a second, and I have zero issue with telling her that she is right about me. The last paragraph, let me see here. The last paragraph is just another Bachelorette yammering on about nothing. And then there's a video of Hannah thanking her fans for supporting her banana gobbling ways. And listen, man, nobody here cares about that. Let me get that. Let me stop that. I've said it before in many previous videos, because I've done Bachelorette live streams. Like I've streamed it live reaction, and I've talked about this before, but I'm going to say it again for those of you who have just found my content. Hannah Brown is the worst Bachelorette ever. This woman represented herself in the worst way. This woman is the epitome of the girl you should absolutely positively never ever commit to, because she possesses the worst levels of the worst qualities in today's women. All of them. Entitlement, self-importance, lack of accountability, lack of self-awareness. The list goes on. The bottom line here, guys, is that Hannah Brown is a Class A slut, and she had no business being chosen to be the Bachelorette. She is not a woman of quality. She is an extremely low-quality woman. Now, it should come as no surprise that even though she's single, that she's still single after having her pick of 30 clueless men. You would think that she'd be able to lock one of these guys down, but not even she could overcome her own terror. This is how bad her behavior was. Her behavior was so bad on The Bachelorette, she couldn't even pick a winner. Or at least one that stuck with her. What makes this worse is that Hannah is now in a catch-22 situation, guys. You see, she can't date normal guys anymore. She is a celebrity now, so she's not going to be interested in regular guys anymore. Hannah B no longer wants to date, sleep with, or marry regular dudes now. She will only get with celebrity now because she herself is now a celebrity. Like I said, she's going to be on Dancing with the Stars. Red pill aware men understand very clearly that a woman's biology simply will not allow her to become attracted to or sexually aroused by a man whose perceived value is lower than her own. And because celebrity is the ultimate currency in a woman's mind, men without celebrity, they'll be completely invisible to her. Well, why is that such a bad thing? She gets to date celebrity, so the joke's on you, loser. Oh, that's a negative, sweetheart. The joke is on Hannah, sweetheart. Because number one, male celebrities have their choice in women, which means she'll just be a part of his harem. And number two, these male celebrities watch The Bachelor and The Bachelorette too. And even if they haven't watched it, they've heard about Hannah. They know how she gets down and will act accordingly by passing her around. 10 years from now, we're gonna hear about some sort of mental breakdown that Hannah's had because men don't take her seriously and only use her for easy sex. She's gonna have this meltdown in front of the nation. So Hannah Brown can go ahead and drink up the celebrity, drink up the appearance, the appearances, drink up all the praise and the fans and the money and all the rest of that. But she will forever have the distinction of being the Bachelorette with the shortest engagement to date, and the only Bachelorette who was dumb enough to pass up a pilot, a contractor, and a man with standards, all of which who, by the way, genuinely cared for her, in favor of a man who cared more about his girlfriend back at home and his music career. Surprise, surprise. 24-year-old girl chooses a man who cared the least about her. Typical American female. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.